Good evening, everybody, and welcome to League of Europe Division 5, Round 11. How time flies. We're here at Zandvoort in the Netherlands, following up last week's race at Belgium. I am Killer Blue 295, and I am joined as ever by the eternally delightful, ever graceful QVR Packer. How are you, sir?
I am doing pretty good. Just had to race to change headsets and microphones, but yeah, just made it just in time, I guess. So yeah, looking forward to Zandvoort, I guess. Maybe can be quite chaotic as we saw at D1, especially at the end of the race. So looking forward to it, and maybe a few changes in championship position for some of the drivers.
Yes, if the end of Division 1 is anything to go by, there will be a few spins and, I dare say, crashes this evening in Division 5 with some of what we've seen so far this season. The less said of my race, the better, although the highlights are extremely entertaining. If you tend to laugh at me rather than with me for that one. But yes, we did have a change in championship lead last week after Belgium. NL Energetics did not race, and XL Major took full advantage, picking up the maximum 25 points. I think about 5 or 6 different drivers led and looked like they could have won that race at various points, but it was Major who ended up coming through. He now leads the championship by 9 points, 128 to 119. It's the first time someone other than Energetics has led the standings this season. Then we've got Slubcon on 90, only 38 points behind, not out of the woods at all in terms of the title fight. Marcy on 80, Harry F also on 80 there, 48 points behind. Very conceivable that a good result for them could bring them right back in. And then we've got Ghost Recon on 67, Ben Scott on 43, Swip on 42, Serial Kill on 41, and Ocon Corrupt or H. Maguire 6 on 40. Jav is on 36. They Hate Melty, who's since been promoted, is on 34. Alex Lee on 31. Jess Gamer on 30. MCFC on 30. Jamie Met and Abood 28 each for them. Abood not racing today. And then Baba O'Reilly 20. Ricky 15. Reardon 13. Speed Josh 11. Joseph 10. Axel has had a pole position this season, if I remember correctly. He's only got 9 points in total. Ibo has 4. Bellon has 2. Emperor RUB brings up the rear with 1 point. He's also not racing today. His 4th race in a row he's missed, so I'm not sure if he'll be with us for much longer. I know that Jav particularly will be very delighted about that fact. As Ghost Recon joins late, we've got quite a slim lobby this evening. Packer, clearly Zandvoort not in favour with the drivers, just 13, and I wonder of those 13 how many will actually finish, and I'm betting it's not a 2-digit number.
Well, I would hope that once the first person goes out, everyone would be inclined to finish the race, unless they go off without their consent, I guess. Yeah, I don't think many people will be wanting to crash tonight, especially since there are only 13 people in the lobby. But we do have our top 2 in the championship here tonight, and I think that's the most important thing as of right now.
Yep, we have very much got a title battle on our hands, despite what Energetics will try and tell you that the championship is over and he's got no chance and he's lost it and he's thrown it away. That very much is not the case. Well, it looks a bit cloudy, doesn't it? It looks like we could maybe see some rain, but probably not, because no one has jumped out of the pits to try and get an early lap in. We are an after 14 with Ghost Recon having popped in, but having joined after the session has started, he will be obliged to not set a lap time, so we'll be locked into last place. We have now got a car coming out on track, and that is the Red Bull of Serial Killer.
Yeah, Serial Killer going to be the first one out on track. No Alpines here tonight to grace us with their presence, but yeah, Serial Killer is going to assume their positions at the beginning of qualifying here. It's already been almost a minute and a half. And we only have one car out on track now, a Mercedes and a McLaren. I would imagine that is Ibo and Jamie Met, the Mercedes and the McLaren, following Serial Killer out. But yeah, just I guess looking forward to once qualifying does get right underway. Not too many corners here in the Netherlands, just 14. And I believe the only corner name I will be using tonight is Turn 1 at Tarzan. So looking forward to that.
Yes, I don't think we're going to endear ourselves to anyone by trying to pronounce any of the corner names, apart from Tarzan. But drivers not in any kind of great rush to get out on track, are they? As you say, just Serial Killer, Jamie Met and Ibo on track. They've been joined since by Swip, and we've now got one of the Alpha Tauris coming out as well. But let's ride on board with Serial Killer for a lap of the Zandvoort circuit. He's gone wide at the last corner. We'll see when he crosses the line if he's invalidated this next lap or just his out lap. So, barreling towards the first corner, very short straight. He's backed off straight away. And I'm not too sure what that's about for Serial Killer. So let's jump on board with Jamie Met. No one seems to particularly inclined to set a lap today. So Jamie Met has got a chance here to throw himself onto pole position. He's going to have his teammate Jess Gamer just coming out of the pits in front of him. Oh, it's Baba O'Reilly because Jess isn't here with us tonight. Excuse me. Through turn 2, easy to let the rear to let go of you there. You want to bring the car straight back in for turn 3, uphill, cambered in a pretty weird way. Difficult to nail that exit. Very easy to drop the rear there, as I know from very recent experience. And then another tricky corner at the top of the hill. You want to flick that in 6th gear. Don't want to get on the throttle too early because you can unsettle the rear of the car. You can use the curbs in places to help keep it under control, though. Jamie's having a few stabs at some of these corners, not really hooking it up in one smooth motion, and that was quite nice there, coming on to what is technically the first DRS straight, and just got the tricky little chicane to go. Goes a little bit deep into the first part, brings it round well for the second part. Could have got shifted into third a little bit earlier for some better traction there. Just turns 13 and 14 to go. The banking. Does he avoid a spin there? He does indeed. Unlike my good self, Serial Killer set a very tame 24-1, and Jamie Met goes a 12.0. So, apparently it's a wet race, so that's why everyone was so slow out on track, and with only 14 Packer, we could be in for a long evening.
Yeah, the wet race not exactly promoting overtaking. Even in the dry, it is quite difficult, especially if you find yourself in a very large train that, like D1, found itself in. Swip coming to the line in his Aston Martin is going to be slower than provisional pole position at the moment. It's a 12.658 for Swip. So Jamie Met seemingly being at the front, but also having a slight error through turn 7, just trying to get out of the way of Speed Josh, I think that is H. McGuire. Quick last week out in Belgium, already on the brink of heading into the 1 minute 10s. I believe he would have qualified in the top 10 in D1 last week in Belgium, so another strong week for him. Ghost Recon obliging and retiring in the pit lane. I'm not sure if he's been able to get a setup on, but we shall see, I guess.
We shall see indeed. We've only got one person on the lap right now. That's Baba O'Reilly. As you said, very nice lap from H. McGuire. Serial Killer's improved to an 11.2 as well. So Baba O'Reilly's going to be the last of our early runners to complete a lap time. And where's this going to put Luke Etheridge? Into P6, a 12.7. I don't think there's really too much to say at this point, Packer. It's quite a slow burner this session, shall we say, to put it generously. Slumpcon starts his first lap now coming through turn 1.
I'm just going to not acknowledge that Lewis has said hello to you, because he did not say hello to
I
the
promised.
best duo.
I've got a Red Bull that's spun. That's energetic.
Speed Josh out.
Speed Josh is out. Shout out to Lewis Campbell. I promised shout outs. If you're in the chat, introduce yourselves. You'll get a shout out, because I don't think too much else is happening this evening. Speed Josh out and energetics going very slowly.
Yeah, I think riding on board right now with Connor Oakfee. I don't believe I've seen his name before, so new driver, maybe driver with a different name, change of names on the PlayStation.
It's Slumpcon.
Ooh, Slumpcon. Ooh, that's interesting. Well, Slumpcon going to Connor. Or on the PlayStation name. So let's see what Slumpcon can do under this new Alias. Just heading through the penultimate corner and invalidates at turn 13.
That was your fault for saying, let's see what he can do. You talked about one up.
Yeah, good old commentator's curse. It would have been a 12.5. Would have put him just in front of Baba O'Reilly. One of the Aston Martins coming to the line. That's Swip. as Excel
Oh,
Major. Ooh, the two Alpha Towers looking good. Once again, usually it seems to be quite the trend in the League of Europe divisions, but the Alpha Towers always seem to be quite good in qualifying, just across all divisions.
yeah, Connor and Jensen, the Shadow Realm version of H. Maguire and XL Major. I mean, they XL Major, quite like Connor. We've got a spinner, that's Ibo, is the wrong way around. XL Major, a bit like NSX Connor, prone to a license point or two. I mean, XL Major's already served 2 qualifying pans this evening, so not particularly surprising that he drives an AlphaTauri. Oh, we've got Energetics on a good lap, I believe, through the last corner, and Packer once again. Oh, you talked that one up again, didn't you? That was completely your fault. Energetics into the pit lane. 10 minutes to go in the session. Here comes SlumpCon. P4 and 11.445 for the Hassman. Who else is on that? We've got Ibo. Ibo's coming to the last corner now. Nicely done from the Mercedes. Somehow he's not invalid there, even though he's gone completely off track. And a short dash to the line. What's it going to be? It's going to be a 22.9. Not bad. A very respectable effort from Sir Ibo there. Only 10 seconds off the pace. Well, actually, 9.996 seconds behind Riccia.
Yeah, Riccia just improving there as well, finding 2/10 on his lap time. Jamie Met92 has started a new lap as well, so we could ride on board with him. There's a few people in front of him out on track. Connor being one of them, but he's already set his lap time. Swip, who is not improving, but seems to be going quite quickly to the line. So yeah, it is going to be Jamie Met, I think the next driver on a lap. So let's ride on board with the McLaren. Just heading into turn 7 here can be quite difficult. We've already seen Speed Josh retire just there on the apex of turn 8. A little bit wide for Jamie Met. Not exactly where you want to be. You want to carry the speed, but not all over the curb, really, especially into the braking zone. But now heading into the final corner of the middle sector through turn 10, you want to short shift to try and get that traction and open up the DRS, of course, one of the shorter DRS zones on the Formula 1 calendar. Purple in the middle sector, that's a bit deep into the chicane. He was 3/10 up, which would have almost been good enough for P6, but I think with that mistake in the chicane, his lap is almost over. He may be able to find a little bit more time, but I will most certainly doubt it.
Well, let's have a look, shall we? As it crosses the line, we've got little else to do in this session. It was a 12.064, it's now a 12.008. Huge gains there for Jamie Met. We've got a horde of cars coming out of the pits, led by MCFC, with, I think that is Serial Killer and the AlphaTauri of XL Major just in tow there. 8 minutes to go in the session, and we've got a few drivers on outlap, a few in the pits, and a few on in laps. That is Swip, Jamie. I think Baba O'Reilly's actually on a lap here, approaching Ibo through turn. Not got a track map up, so I can't tell you the corner numbers
Turn
because
10.
I am a professional. And here we come now. Baba O'Reilly dipping through the last chicane, goes a little bit deep on the exit there. Just gonna slow him down and getting the power down because you've got to pull the car back towards the right direction. But see, no one take a particularly tight line and just ran over a front wing there. I'm intrigued to see whose that would be. 12.449 for Baba O'Reilly. But yeah, I'm intrigued why no one's really taking a super tight line through the banking, because it is the quickest way to the start line, despite what physics would tell you.
Yeah, sometimes struggling as well, just with the stability of a setup as well. So, but either way, just taking the safe route, I guess. MCFC, I think, is just coming to the penultimate corner to start a lap as well. His first lap, lagging ever so slightly. But let's see if we can find anyone else. I think Baba O'Reilly's backed off. He's already done his one lap on those tires. Serial Killer and Excel Major are on the laps. Harry Maguire was on a lap, but has gone around at turn 7. So let's ride on board with his teammate, looking to chase pole position. Didn't quite catch that first sector. Split all over the exit curb there at turn 8. But Serial Killer's out as well down there at turn 7, just in between 7 and 8. Very difficult corners to get correct, those two are. But let's see, with Excel Major with the DRS open, heading down towards turn 11. He's 2.5 tenths up, so good enough to get into the 10s here for the Alpha Tower driver. Championship leader, of course. So heading through turn 13 now. Pretty nice line, carrying the speed that he needs to. Heading down to the bottom of that banking towards the white line. Will stay in the middle of the circuit with the DRS open. Is he going to derate to the line? No, he won't. It's a 10.816. So now it's going to be Harry Maguire's opportunity to respond. I think he's just starting one now. Backing off and going again. There's a little tap of the wall there. But I think he's gotten away with it.
Well, we are now into the 10s, but well, we can't afford to lose any more drivers, and Serial Killer's put himself in the wall. But let's go on board with H. Maguire. Through turn 2, you want to avoid that curb on the inside. It's naturally going to spin you out, and you can take a really weirdly tight line through turn 3 as well, and it lets you just ride the track, ride the contours of the track, because this track undulates up and down with such a elegant and graceful flow. You kind of want to ride the curves, not like H. Maguire's done there. And, well, are we surprised anymore? Yeah, are we surprised at this point with what we've seen so far today? So H. Maguire's had to bail on his second lap, and yes, here we got Connor to the line. SlumpCon was on 11.4, it's now an 11.063, just less than 400 shy of H. Maguire.
Yeah, good lap there from Connor. When I clicked on board with him, he was 2 tenths up in the first sector. Found another tenth in the middle, but didn't quite find too much in that final sector. We'll see what he can do on his final run. If he can get back to the pits, he'll have plenty of time to get back out. Swip, though, on a lap a little bit deep into the chicane, not quite riding over the curbs as you would want to. He's a tenth up. The chicane didn't look too clean as MCFC has retired in the pit lane. But yeah, Swip was up by a tenth, good enough to beat Serial Killer for the time being. That's MCFC out. Crashing into the pit lane. But yeah, Swip crossed the line, found another tenth in that final sector, even with that missing chicane, and he will be up to P4, just under a tenth of a second in front of Serial Killer, who is no longer in the session. I think Jav will be the next one to cross the line. He was 1.2 seconds down, though, so I'm not sure if he's having the greatest times, and no, he's not, because he is bringing Sandra into the pit lane.
I think he might have been on his second lap, possibly on the tyres, because he was derating, or his red light was flashing, or his harvesting light. We've got Energetic starting a lap, though. I think that will be the only driver on a lap at this point in session. He drives straight through MCFC's stricken wheel. If anyone was interested in D2, Mr. BT is on provisional pole right now from TTG Slash and CRL Nathan. Championship leader RL Carmental is currently down in 14th place, but is still quicker than what Rocco managed in Division 1, so there's some solace in that. Nice tight line for Energetics through turn 3, but he's already backed off. This lap is not going his way, and he's had to bail from 11.6. He's not really going well for the Dutchman in his homeland, particularly given his championship rival is currently in pole position. But we've seen all season back that consistency and driving through a little bit of madness is typically Energetics' strength, and if we're going to see any sorts, bottles and crashes and spins and all sorts galore, it's going to be at Zandvoort in the wet with Division 5. So I wouldn't write this man off yet, but it's not really going his way in quali so far.
Yeah, not really, is it? You've seen Energetic. He's not had too many very good qualifying, but he's had a lot of pretty decent qualifying, being in that top 7-8 area for most of the races and finding his way up to the front. Obviously, before Australia, he'd finished in the top 5 for every race that he'd participated in. So, yeah, Energetic's always finding a way, it seems,
SlumCon
to have a good race as SlumCon. Ooh, that's a good lap there from Connor. 1:10.736 puts him solidly onto pole position. Excel Major, who's just leaving his pit box now, will have to find at least 800s if he wants to go back on to P1. H. Maguire is on a lap. I was riding on board with Ricky, I think. He's not up in his time, though. Also, Babbo O'Reilly's on a lap as well, so we can pick anyone, really, to look on board with.
Well, I'll say let's drop in with H. Maguire, but he's nearly 2 tenths down at the end of the first sector. Maybe he's got some time in the rest of the lap, and using all of the curb and then some on the outside of turn 8 there, but unfortunately for him, it's invalidated him, and it's another lap goes begging for the AlphaTauri driver. Energetics is backed off again. Can't see how long's left in session because we've got yellow flags galore here. I think that is Excel Major through on his outlap, and he's just staying right out of the way. So we're on board with Jamie Met now, coming through turn 10, as you taught me earlier on, Packer. And we've just got a short dash this first DRS straight, really far too short to be a DRS straight, but we're not exactly have a wealth of opportunities for DRS zones here, and Jamie Met has dropped it on the exit of turn 12. And that is the wrong way around the track, Jamie Met Sunshine. And we've got some slipstream going on here, though, for Swip picking up it off Jav starting his lap, and the two Aston Martins are going to start their laps together. In fact, Jav's not bothering starting his lap. He's going to have another go next time round. Energetics is starting another lap. Jav is round. He was going about 3 miles an hour, so that's impressive. Jamie Met round as well.
Yeah, tires not coping too well with the McLaren. So that is qualifying. Well, the checkered flag is dropped at least here in qualifying for Division 5, round 11 of this 17 race championship. Excel Major has made a mistake on his lap down at turn 9. H. Maguire has invalidated. He's still going around, but he's almost 3 seconds down on his time. Baba O'Reilly to the line. He was 6.5 tenths up, heading through the middle sector split. Let's see what it's going to be. One position gain. Find another few tenths there in that final sector. Only a few hundredths between championship or earlier championship elect Energetics, who's just stopped on the side of the track. One of the AlphaTauris just crossing the line. That was H. Maguire. Let's ride on board with Swip. He was up only by a few hundredths. He needs to find around a 1/10.5 in the final sector. But as we saw earlier, he had a little bit of time in that final sector. Found a 10th, but not quite enough to put himself up into P3. Anyone else? Energetics is obviously backed off. Jav was backed off before his lap even started. So that's going to be the end of qualifying here. It's going to be Slumcon on pole position and Excel Major alongside him on the front row.
And no mistakes permitting, if this was Division 1, that would be your finishing order, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to Slumcon, Excel Major and H. Maguire on the podium. But I kid you, of course, it's Division 5, so no guarantees there. I wouldn't expect in any Division 1 race, to be honest with you, at the rate they bottle, for 2 AlphaTauris to finish in the top 3, but we shall see. Congrats to Ibo, top 10 qualifying for the seasoned campaigner, shall we call him, of the league, as we're just waiting for Energetics to retire in the pit lane. Presumably, it's going to be full wets will be the tyre of choice for the start, so we didn't see the mediums at all that session. There was no incentive for anyone to do so. Alex Hilliard joins as the session ends, but has he joined in time to take part in the race? And I have to say, Packer, I'm not sure he's going to get a seat. I think he'll be, like us, a spectator for this race.
Yeah, joining just a little bit late. If you wish to get into qualifying, you should have been here on time. But anyways, yes, once again, Slumcon, Excel Major, H. Maguire, Swipk, Serial Killer, NL Energetics, Baba O'Reilly, Jamie Met, Jav, and Ibo, the top 10. Ricky, the only driver outside of the top 10 to set a lap time. 2.25 seconds off a pole position, and then it's going to be Speed Josh, MCFC, and Ghost Recon, P12, 13, and 14, all not setting lap times. Ghost Recon, of course, joined late, and then MCFC and Speed Josh both crashing out of qualifying. So, yeah, Slumcon on pole position, Excel Major in a strong position to increase his championship lead here in the Netherlands, especially with Energetics down the order a little bit. Only 9 points separate the two at the top, of course, but 9 points here in Division 5 doesn't seem like too much in the grand scheme of things. And oh my gosh, is it raining?
Backer, there are times someone regrets their decisions, and this is the moment I regret agreeing to commentate Division 5. We have 14 starters. Lord knows where the other 6 should be, or are. We have no Alpines on the grid at all. We've got a full wet race around perhaps the most single-file track on the calendar, Monaco notwithstanding. So I'm intrigued to see how this will go. My prediction isn't who's going to win this race, it's that we're going to have less than half of them finish. I think we're going to see 7 cars or less finish this race. Hopefully it doesn't sink to Division 1 Season 5 levels where we've got XL Major off the track at turn 1 already on the formation lap there. Hopefully it doesn't sink to Division 1 Season 5 levels where James and V8 were playing hangman in the comments. But
I remember this race.
You never know. So it's full wet all the way through, as if you didn't need reminding. The two of you watching the stream right now, what are you doing? Go watch Division 2.
I believe one of them is me, but anyways.
Watch it back in the morning. Well, if there's only one person watching, let's get some more love in here. We need to get people watching the stream. Justice for Division 5. And justice for Rocco after Justas punted him off at turn 1 on the last lap of the Division 1 race. We've got some racing here between Major and Slumpcon on the formation lap. What we love to see. Well, Paco, what are your predictions? It was the two Alfa Romeos.
I predict the two Alfa Romeos to crash into each other, and I think we've already gotten that. So 1 point for me, of course. But yeah, I think Excel Major will probably win this race. I think Slumpcon not quite consistent enough, especially difficult conditions at a difficult circuit. I think Excel Major will probably win. I'm gonna pick Energetics for second, and I'm gonna say Jav to get on the podium because everyone around him slides off the circuit.
Well, we shall see, shall we? Time shall tell, as she always does. So we've got the cars coming round to start. Now, the tricky part here is that what we're going to see how well and how bravely the drivers can get the cars off the line. Serial Killer in the stream chat saying Div 5 the best division. I don't know if that's tongue-in-cheek, but today it certainly is not. But, I'm sure we'll have an entertaining race. I use that term very liberally. Right, 14 cars on the grid. Alex Liart did not make it in time. Everyone's on full wets. And it's going to be Connor O'Keefe. Slumpcon on pole position. XL Major, the championship leader, in P2. 5 lights. And we are underway at Zandvoort. It looked like H. Maguire got a really good start. They're all so timid off the line. Serial Killers up into 4th place. Slumpcon comfortably leads into turn 1. There goes very deep. It's 3 wide through the exit of turn 1. XL Major's through. And I think H. Maguire's through as well. Is it an AlphaTauri? 1-2 it is indeed. Up the inside of turn 2. H. Maguire slips through. Serial Killers in 4th place. Jav up to 8th. Ibo's lost a couple of places. He's down to 13th. MCFC has gained a couple. He's up to P11. And, that was couldn't have been a worse start. We've got Baba O'Reilly is down in the background there. He's lost it through the kinks of, I think that's turns 4 and 5. But yeah, shocking start for Slumpcon. Not what he needed. The 2 AlphaTauris into the lead, and remarkably, after 10 corners, we still have all 14 drivers as Jamie Metz spins both McLarens. Fallen to the back of the field on this first lap.
Yeah, Jav, Baba O'Reilly were side by side as they headed through the kinks of that first sector. I didn't quite catch what happened, but obviously going side by side through there, quite dangerous in the dry, even more dangerous in these type of conditions. But yeah, looking back up towards the front, as you mentioned, Slumpcon with an awful start off the line, just not getting to grips with those full wet tires into turn 1 at Tarzan. And H. Maguire, Excel Major taking advantage of that really, and Excel Major up into the lead of this race, already pulling a second plus past his teammate. The same for H. Maguire past Slumpcon, as we have a battle for P10. Ghost Recon and Riccier going side by side into turn 1. Riccier with a little bit of a lockup into the first corner, getting out into the puddles. That's not where you want to be, especially here, especially down there at turn 1. Ghost Recon is going to be up into P10, and starting from the back of the grid, already up a few positions. Obviously, 2 people have gone off the track, but making up those other 2 positions, doing quite well for the American. Yeah, so we're just going to continue on here. Serial Killer.
Sorry, I just had a tickle in my throat. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, I was just going to say, Ghost Recon driving without his helmet, going to have a very soggy balaclava going round with no helmet on. It's amazing. You can keep the rain out of his eyes and see where he's going. We've got Speed Josh and Jav going at. I'm hyping this up more than it deserves to be hyped up, but we got Speed Josh and Jav going at it towards turn 11, and Jav goes a little bit deep through 12. But well, it's not strung out as much as I feared it would. But we have got Major with a 1.3 second lead at the end of lap 2, and sets the fastest lap in the process at 24.7.
Yeah, good lap there from Excel Major. Closest battle really out on track is going to be MCFC and Speed Josh. Didn't quite see MCFC coming for the back of the Mercedes. Speed Josh with a little bit of a slide out of turn 1, heading up towards turn 2. The right-hander, the Alfa Romeo will slot in front of the Mercedes, replicating real life, kind of. Through Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, of course, as MCFC making his way up to P8 will now be onto the back of Jav. I was going to say the closest battle we have on track besides those two are Swip and Serial Killer for P4. Swip having a pretty decent race after not having the strongest of seasons so far. 42 points to his name, his best result coming at the first round of the championship in Imola. So looking for a good result here. Also, Slumpcon right under the back of Harry Maguire, sliding all over the place, is the rear end of that AlphaTauri, and not really coming to grips with those full wet tires is H. Maguire.
And 2 seconds adrift now of his teammate, 2.1. That gap just stretching a little on this lap. We've got another close battle. That is Jav heading MCFC and Speed Josh. We've got our first retirement. That is Ghost Recon, and we've got a virtual safety car, which kind of puts the takes the sting out of this little battle we were starting to see evolve. Ariel Nathan says, "Hi, Killer and Packer in the chat. Hi to you too, mate. Congrats on the D1 win." Ghost Recon has left the session, so no hurry to stick around. But it does look a little bit like, so far, doesn't it, Packer, that Major has got this all under control. As under control as it can be in a full wet Zandvoort race, where every curve is lethal and danger lurks around every corner.
Yeah, Excel Major definitely looks quite strong out at the front of this race, and he did the same thing in Belgium, if I remember correctly, a week ago. But yeah, Excel Major been really dominant these last few weeks, winning in Australia, winning in Belgium, of course, as well. Fastest lap for him in Australia as well. Had a really strong last 2 weeks and looking for another in a row. The virtual safety car going quite long. Obviously, Zandvoort not the longest of circuits, but yeah, H. Maguire following in second, Slumpcon P3, Serial Killer P4, Swip following them. All quite close here, obviously under virtual safety car conditions, sticking to that delta. Gas will close and expand. Just going through the motions as Jav has picked up a drive-through penalty. He will want to serve that as quick as possible just to get into the clean air, of course. But now we are under green flag conditions once again. Slumpcon on the back of H. Maguire, Swip on the back of Serial Killer, Speed Josh on the back of MCFC. So a few battles throughout the field, looking quite all right so far. Only 4 laps in, about to be on to lap number 5.
H. Maguire has been having some nasty flashbacks down that VSC to Australia race. If you remember the first start, the VSC went in after he dominated the opening exchanges. Javi then straight away, as you say, and then crashed as the VSC ended, just getting back on the power. Turn 11 and 12, caught him by surprise. But no one coming to that fate today. He has just stretched his lead a little bit to nearly a second on Slumpcon on the initial restart, and has gained a tenth or two on his teammate as well for good measure. We've got a nice little train going on here, from all the way from the leader down to Speed Josh really in P8. It's quite clustered. We've got and Speed Josh as DNF. We've got our second retirement, ladies and gentle beans, and that is Speed Josh out in P8, which means Ibo is guaranteed some points here, so congratulations to Sir Ibo, guaranteed at least his 5th point of the season. I'm sure there'll be more DNFs as well. I mean, at the moment, he's on course for 4 points which will double his tally for the season. Lewis Campbell says, Jav Fan Club rise. Well, you should have got in here sooner because your man has picked up a drive-through penalty and is down in P11. It's not taking him really out of the fray too much. He's got Jamie Met, Ibo and Rick here in fairly close company. What are you seeing, Packer?
Jamie Met replicating qualifying, going straight into the gravel trap at the chicane, and this is going to give Jav the opportunity, if he can, of course, follow close enough through turns 13 and 14, almost spinning on the apex curve there at turn 13, or almost coming into contact with it. Jamie trying to keep the car on track, using his ERS as well down towards turn 1, but obviously you can just see so very difficult to overtake and even stay close to the car in front of you. I believe Slumcon had the fastest lap there. Energetics into the grass a little bit as well. Gap's just stringing out, but Slumcon seems quite quick if he could only just get past H. McGuire and break up this AlphaTauri 1-2.
Yeah, it's an intriguing to and fro. We've got a little bit. It looked like, as I said, Major had sort of checked out, and then H. Maguire's come back at him on the last lap or so, and Slumpcon sticking really closely to the back of AlphaTauri. He's going to be less than 4 tenths a second. Got a much better exit off turn 10, coming towards the chicane of 11 and 12. So I think we are seeing a three-way battle for the victory here start to emerge, and it's going to come down to who makes the least mistakes. Bit of a wobble there for Slumpcon on the exit of turn 12. I'm expecting someone at some point to drop it here, just catching the inside curb of 13 or the exit curb as well, because the curbs are ruthless here. You can't really avoid them. You just have to sweep in and sort of just kiss them, brush them. MCFC pulling out to spot a braking point down the start-finish line. Imagine the spray is quite severe, although we can't really see it on stream. Jav was looking, as you said, last lap, was very close to the back of Jamie Met. He must have made some kind of mistake, because he's now 1.4 seconds adrift, and instead it's Jamie Met who's having an attack on Ibo for P9. And up front, again, it's just gone back Major's way, extended his lead another couple of tenths, and we've got that extra back. Oh, Jamie Met is past Ibo now, into turn 2. That's a brave move. But we've got another little battle, haven't we, between Serial Killer, Swip, Energetics and MCFC, as Jav passes Ibo as well. So we've got a couple, given we've only got 12 drivers, we've got a couple of really nice battles on track right now.
Yeah, quite surprising actually. The trend in Division 5 has really been the field just kind of spreading out. I'm also surprised that many people are not using too much of the ERS. Obviously you do save quite a bit of it. But Slumpcon being on 100% exiting the chicane there at turn 12. H. McGuire just a little bit less than that as he hits 100% into turn 13. XL Major on 100%. Serial Killer 100%. Swep is really the driver with the least amount of ERS, and I think the entire field. He has about 76% to his name. So Swep really been using that ERS button, trying to make a dent in the gap between him and Serial Killer, but just can't quite get close enough. If anything, Energetics looking to have a little bit more raw pace than the Aston Martin. A Serial Killer with a little bit of a slide up in front, and Slip unable to do anything about making an overtake there, and we'll just have to sit in behind once again.
Oh, and MCFC went very deep up, well, not deep, very shallow up the inside. Oh, and Swip's on the grass, but he's past Serial Killer. Serial Killer had an awful exit out of turn 3, and Swip took to the grass to overtake him. It's been an awful, miserable lap for Serial Killer, not really found too much rhythm, and Swip is through and up into 4th place, and that is finally coming into good effect. But I'm amazed he managed to hang on to that on the grass. This battle intensely close, as you can just see there outshot. H. Maguire and Slumpcon slipping away. Energetics having a look up the inside of turn 10 on his teammate. Nothing doing there. Serial Killer goes a little wide on the exit of 10. Such Maguire's a long deep corner, and Maguire's gone deep over the gravel. He's got a 3-second penalty, and there goes Slumpcon on the exit. Straight attraction. He's able to get the move done, and well, behind him, all hell looks set like it could be about to break loose, because Swip is not dumping this group at all, and I feel like there's an accident waiting to happen with these four right now.
Yeah, Swift leading this train now. The gap between them, second and third as well, has opened up to 3.8 seconds as H. McGuire looked to make a move on Slumpcon, but just couldn't quite get the run out of the final corner. But yeah, Serial Killer, after making that mistake on the previous lap through the first sector, has been right on the back of him. As MCFC almost into the back, if not actually making contact with the back of that Red Bull. 4P6 just heading through turn 2, getting quite close between the Dutchman and MCFC. MCFC and the Dutchman of Energetics there. Trying to make a good impression on his home fans, but not quite getting it done so far here tonight.
Yeah, Energetics had a bit of a wobble going through turn 2. Just didn't seem quite have the confidence that MCFC did. We've seen this a lot this season where MCFC... Oh, and Energetics trying to have a look at his teammate there through turn 10. It's not really overtaking the place. It's such a short braking zone, but I think he's got a better exit. And look at this. The two Red Bulls are going to go side by side towards turn 11. Who's going to be braver on the brakes than Serial Killer? He's going to cover this off nicely. We're up to 9 viewers on the stream. We love to see that. MCFC hits the back of Energetics. There, Energetics has a wobble coming out of 12. This is allowing Swift just to break away just a little bit, get a little bit of breathing room from the Aston Martin. His lead over Serial Killer, the thick end of a second. Slumpcon gets a fastest lap of the race, and Energetics looking like a bit of a man on a charge right now, as MCFC taking that weird line once again down the straight. And something I'm spotting with these two Red Bulls is Serial Killer would like to take a wide sort of arching, sort of more of a lazy line into some of the corners. He'll go wide in and then tight on the exit, straight in the car, whereas... Oh, and MCFC has a slide there. I need to stop going. Oh, I'm doing it far too much. Energetics is much happier running a really tight line through particularly turns 1, turn 3, turn 10. He likes really hugging that inside line, and is putting his nose into dangerous spaces, and Serial Killer wide through turn 8 there, and Energetics has slipped through up into P5.
Yeah, opportunistic move there from Energetics. They're just making it in front of his teammate. I think Serial Killer was making far too many mistakes for Energetics' liking, just making his way past, trying to... Ooh, Energetics deep now, just following H. McGuire's line a little bit there through the chicane. Serial Killer is going to be up the inside on the exit of turn 12. A little bit of contact between the two Red Bulls, but Serial Killer will give up that position, not going to be going for the overtake in turn 13. So the Red Bulls have now fully swapped position. We'll see what happens down towards turn 1, but I don't think it's going to be quite close enough. Serial Killer, obviously both have quite a decent amount of ERS to their names. MCFC just in behind as well, struggling to make his way through. Energetics a little bit wide. Serial Killer sticking his front wing up the inside, but not going to be quite close enough. Nothing really to affect Energetics there up in front of him. Just looking...
I would say from the shoddy angle I had on stream, I think that was quite naughty from Energetics at turn 12. He gave Serial Killer a proper stiff arm and refused to let him through. Max Verstappen style, and we've got MCFC trying to go around the outside of turn 8 here. That is ill-advised if ever I saw it, but Serial Killer, as you said, he's making a lot of mistakes, but it seems to be, really, right now, whoever's in the lead of this group is the one making the mistakes. Energetics goes a little bit deep at turn 9, and, well, he's not running away with it, is he?
Well, someone who is running away is Slumpcon from H. McGuire, and he's running straight onto the back of the other Alpha Tower of Excel Major. That gap between the top two now down to just over half a second as they head through the final corner and on to lap number 12. I'd also like to say that Swift had managed to go down to 50% ERS, not quite using it as much now. He's up to a solid 75-ish, but yeah, Slumpcon and Excel Major, the new battle out on track. Not quite close, or not too close to make an overtake quite yet, but I'm sure Slumpcon will be looking to make that happen soon enough.
I'll be intrigued as to if Slumpcon is going to force this. He probably needs a mistake from Major, because even if he's quick enough, once you get to this point, you're never quite sure what the car in front of you is going to do, which means you're always that fraction later on the throttle, fraction earlier on the brakes, jab is into the pits, fraction more hesitant turning in, which just takes away a tenth or two of pace, and it makes it a lot harder to make an overtake. That said, If Excel Mage is taking some lines like that, it's going to play very much into SlumpCon's hands. Let's have a look. Bit of a squiggle on exit there for the Alpha Tauri, and he is inviting the pressure from SlumpCon, who's gone purple like 2, though has a big lockup into turn 11, and that just stifles any chance of an overtake if one was forthcoming down the main straight. Gap slips 0.8 of a second further back. We've got still Energetics not really pulling away from Serial Killer. Gap is at a second, 0.6 further back to MCFC. I don't think this battle is going anywhere anytime soon. And indeed, if they start catching up with Swip, we could just see these four reconvene, as it were, a few laps ago. MCFC might be having a look for it now. He's within 0.3 of a second. He pulls out to the inside line, has a look at Serial Killer. Very late on the brakes, ends up overshooting the corner, just misses the diffuser of that Red Bull and hangs on to the car. But certainly looking for an opportunity. And Serial Killer's already lost a place to Swip. He's lost a place to his teammate, and he's in serious danger now of losing one to MCS. He goes deep into turn 3, defends from fresh air. He'll hold on for another day, but it looks like a matter of when, not if, he's going to lose this position.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. Serial Killer already losing 2 positions in this race, starting up in P4. Losing positions to Swip and Energetics in the last few laps, and those two have seemingly broken away. Swip a little bit further away than Energetics is. That gap between the two Red Bulls now up to 1.3 seconds. So it does seem as if Serial Killer has been the cork in the bottle, if you will, for most of the drivers inside of the top 7, and MCFC just struggling to get out of said bottle as of right now. Just taking a quick look to the drivers throughout the rest of the field. Ricky at 18.5 seconds. Between that battle for 6th place, Jamie Met after he's really been struggling just for grip as well. Ibbo still in the top 10. Jav had to pit for a new front wing, and he's just gone off the track again. And it seems that he might have more damage because he's understeering quite heavily. For Mayo up the inside of Serial Killer, a little bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. MCFC on the inside. He's not going to be able to get it done. That little wheel-to-wheel contact just persuading him to not quite go for the move up to turn 2. Serial Killer wide through turn 3. MCFC all over the puddles there on the inside of the turn 3 exit and unable to get that move done. That's the first real attempt, though, that we've seen for MCFC. So Serial Killer struggling.
SlumpCon's gone.
Yeah, SlumpCon making a mistake there. Does he have any front wing damage?
Yes.
He's missing a left side end plate.
His left front wing end plate is gone, so he's collected a wall somewhere out on track, and he'll be... that car will feel awful through turns 10, 11, 12. The car's not going to turn in. Let's have a look on board where he brakes for turn 11. It's not going to want to turn through 12 at all, and H. Maguire is going to say thank you very much for the place. And in the process, we'll see that Mages now stretches lead effectively to 7 seconds, nearly 8 seconds, because H. Maguire's going to get caught behind the struggling, stricken Haas there as it comes into the pits. Let's have a look quickly at MCFC, because he's less than 0.2 of a second behind Serial Killer. He's going to pull out to the inside of the Red Bull, who's going to be later on the brakes. Serial Killer still has a car length advantage, but not anymore, because there goes MCFC, much braver up the inside. Serial Killer's going to try to cut back underneath him and have a look towards turn 2, but there's nothing going there. MCFC got the exit he needed. He was calmer on traction, and Serial Killer's tumble down the field continues, not particularly enjoying these wet conditions.
Yeah, definitely not. His fall through the field has been quite graceful, if we will. A pretty slow fall, but still falling nonetheless. Is that jab around at the chicane? So my prediction for 3rd place in this race, not exactly coming to fruition. He's going to have Babo O'Reilly just behind him after Baba O'Reilly ended up pitting on that first lap and getting, losing his entire wing as well. But yeah, good move there from MCFC. Late on the brakes, brave into turn 1 there at Tarzan, and that's a good move. Serial Killer are already pulling away 1.3 seconds away from Serial Killer. So you need maybe a second and a half pace advantage to make moves here at Zandvoort, especially in the full wet conditions. So it's just alluding to how difficult it's going to be to overtake, especially once we get down to the last few laps of this race when everyone's going to be struggling to keep it on track. 16 laps through here, just on to lap number 16 here for these drivers. So still a long way to go, just over halfway to go here. 18 laps, of course, is halfway distance. So yeah, a little while longer to go for these guys.
I think we could yet get a tasty battle on track soon between MCFC and Energetics, because MCFC certainly seems the quicker of that group right now. Baba O'Reilly has passed Jav. I think Jav must have made a mistake at turn 9 because it's not your traditional overtaking place. Rickia into the pits. But yeah, MCFC is making strides. He was about 2 seconds behind Energetics when he passed Serial Killer. It's now shifted to 1.1. So the Alfa Romeo, as is custom this season, is on a bit of a charge in the race after a fairly anonymous qualifying. Let's have a look at the position changes at this point in the race. MCFC indeed up 8 places from 13th on the grid. Slumpcon, with that mistake, has now lost 6 and is in no man's land. 16 seconds behind Serial Killer and 8 seconds ahead of Jamie. Serial Killer's lost 1 place, although he had a very good first lap. Energetics up 2. Lost 4 for... Oh, we've got Jav round again at turn 1. I don't think he's got a front wing either to speak of. No, he does not. He's got the race leader about to lap him. So even if there is a safety car now, Jav is locked into last place. He won't be able to unlap himself because Michael Massey said so. Major is 6 ahead of his lead, 8.4 seconds, as he does come through Jav now with that blue flag waving. Fastest lap Slumpcon, but I'll be honest, Packer, we have reached on lap 17, we've reached the lull in the race where, well, you take a look at the state of that mini-map. They are, the word I would use is
qualifying than the race.
They are circulating, but they're not particularly competing. We've got a safety car in D2 though. Halfway point, everyone's pitted. It's Larkin versus Sully versus Scream to the end, but with some fresh soft runners, Gary, Zaldama and J. Cole behind. Championship leader Carl Mental is down in 14th place, so a big chance here for lots of drivers.
Yeah, a good opportunity for a lot of guys as Larkin will get Division 2's race back underway on lap number 19. Slumpcon possibly making a mistake, maybe going into a wall, getting a little bit of damage. He does seem to be struggling quite a bit after just setting the fastest lap. And he did go off there down at turn 9 as it is chaos in Division 2. So, yeah, I think Slumpcon has more damage because he's losing to Serial Killer. Oh, that is an Aston Martin in the wall. Anyways, let's stop watching Division 2 for the time being.
I just saw that. Jesus Lord, it's Mr. BT, one of the favourites for the race. Javs into the pits. And up front, XL Major, 9.1 seconds clear. I'm going to dip out of the race and have a look at the times because, look at this. Major, 24.4, 24.4, 24.3. H. Maguire, 24.6, 24.9, 25.0 for Maguire. Major's just comfortably stretching his legs up front. Another penalty for Slumpcon. Down in 9th now with another pit stop and a new front wing. Jav will be 2 laps down soon if he's not too careful. But Swip is really catching H. Maguire. Look at this, 1 second between them. Swip's a bit of a man on a charge right now. And he's going to bring Energetics with him. And MCFC as well.
Yeah, Jav, the third driver in this race to pick up a 3-second time penalty. Obviously, H. Maguire's was an instant 3-second time penalty for cutting the chicane, allowing what was
Serial Killer's through MCFC.
Ooh.
MCFC must have made some kind of mistake because they're side by side through the banking. I think Serial Killer just went a little bit deep as he made that move, and then MCFC's coming into the pits. So that's why they swapped places. MCFC made a critical error and has had to change his front wing. Sorry, Pac, as you were.
Is it going to be a new front wing? I think it's just another set of wets for the Alfa Romeo.
Fair enough. The wets go all race though, don't they? They should do. Oh, Jav's lost it again.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if they do go all the way, as Jav has lost, what is this, his second or third front wing, and that has caused a virtual safety car. So if it lasts for long enough, I think XL Major could take a free pit stop here.
Yeah, I mean, MCFC won't be too happy that the virtual safety car's coming out now. Jav will be grateful because he can mop up his own mess by getting a new front wing. But you only get 3 sets of wets, and Jav's already, I think, used. Yeah, he's made 2 stops, so he's already used all 3 sets. So we're making another set there. And look, this is Gary on Nathan in D2. That was naughty from Gary. It looked like eager to get past the McLaren. Nothing doing, says the CRL driver. But yeah, we're still on the virtual safety car. We don't get a message, unfortunately, as commentators when it's ending. But let's have a look. Is Major going to come in? He is indeed. He's coming in. He's committed to the inside line there. He's going to come in, which means Maguire will have to stay out, I presume. Otherwise, he would lose out to Swip and Energetics by having to queue. But then again, he's so far behind, he wouldn't have to queue anyway. But he's still coming in. He's still coming in. I mean, scratch what I just said. He wouldn't have to queue. He was so far behind. But why? I get why Major's come in, but why is he coming? Swip now leads the race. Energetics is now second, and presumably will be committed to 2-stopping. We're going to see Energetics versus Major on track here. The gap right now is about 4 seconds, but it's going to come down rapidly. So we're going to get a title fight on track in Zandvoort. Maguire, no man's land now, down in P4. Said Swip leads the race.
Wait, I was saying ooh because I thought it was MCFC and Serial Killer side by side. Serial Killer was in the pit lane and MCFC was going around Tarzan and making his way past the Red Bull driver. So somehow MCFC has found his way in front of Serial Killer by a pretty decent margin, 2.5 seconds. So not entirely sure how that has happened, but looking back up to the front, Swip Energetics 1.2 seconds separate them. Just the gap ebbing and flowing as you will through the middle sector and now into the final sector. On lap number 20, Excel Major catching, but not too much. Only a few tenths on this lap so far. I'm sure on the next lap, Excel Major will get into the groove of things once again. He'll be absolutely flying. But yeah, just as they head through the final corner for the 20th time in this is Dutch Grand Prix, round 11, of course, of Division 5, Season 7. As the battle for the lead will swap hands in Division 2. Sully will go up into P2, Timon into P3. But yeah, Excel Major beginning to use his ERS. Swip has been using his ERS for the majority of this race, but been saving it a little bit recently. I don't understand why the drivers aren't using ERS at every available opportunity, but I guess they can really do whatever they want with it. As Energetics a little bit into the grass, entering turn 7 there.
Well, I've not really had I've not had ERS up at all this race because you can typically use it freely in the wet. But Jav again. He's not lost a front wing this time though, so that's good. He's just trying to one-up my highlights from D1. That's all it is. He'll be 2. Well, he is 2 laps behind now. He is 2 laps behind, I think. But yeah, 3 seconds is Major's gap. He's taken about 7-8 tenths out of Energetics since he came out of the pits. But the thing is, he's thrown away a perfectly good. What did he have? 10-second lead plus. For the sake of some fresh tyres, when they probably would have gone to the end anyway. And he's now making life hard for himself. He's going to have to do it on track, but Swip is into the pit. Why? I am crying figuratively, but it may be literally soon. Why is Swip coming to the pits? We could have had a new winner.
Maybe his tire pressures are too low, but even then, obviously past halfway now, 14 laps to go, 15 laps to go. My apologies, but yeah, I'm not entirely sure why, because Swip just gave up, well, what was the race lead out on track. He didn't, well, we don't think he needed to make another pit stop, but I guess we shall see once we get to the end, because currently Energetics is leading without a pit stop. Ibo, P7, without a pit stop as well, just letting slump by.
Ibo.
Interesting decision from Ibo.
Ibo, no need. We don't... Be aggressive. You're in 7th place, and you're there on merit. Fight for the position. I mean, fair play to Ibo. He's not spun in the race so far. Yeah, he was backwards at one point in qualifying, but he's not at a moment in the race, when most drivers have. in Swip's case, I count coming into the pits as having a moment, because clearly his mental faculties were not there at that moment, unless his tyre, as you say, was particularly bad. XL Major's gap to Energetics is 2.2 seconds. We've got 14 laps to go in this race. 2.1 now. 2.0 as we come through turn 1. Major needs to get a shift on. He needs to give himself as much time as possible to get this overtake done, because there's no guarantee it's going to happen. Energetics is on pretty much maximum ERS, so clearly he's just saving himself for when the opportunity arises. And we saw at France that it's when we have these wet conditions, when we have these uncertainties, these variables in the ultimate race result or the race plan, it's where Energetics comes into his own. He started, in 6th place. He's now leading, and comfortably so. P3 is some 16 seconds behind right now. So this is kind of the moments where he comes into his own. He'll tell you he's lost his consistency. He'll tell you it's over, but it certainly won't be. Jav has lost it again, but somehow he still managed to not crash, which I find bizarre, but there we are. He gets lapped by Slumpcon. Although Major's had a mistake on this lap, because the gap's now 2.8 seconds. Have I missed something, Packer, that you've seen?
No, because I was watching on board with Slumpcon as well after just setting the fastest lap of the race, doing a 22.9. So, no, I'm not entirely sure exactly what has happened there. All I know is that he's lost a decent chunk of time there. And also, we have another battle between H. Maguire and Swip. That battle is closing up once again as well, both on fresher tires than Energetics, up in the lead. 14 seconds between the two AlphaTauri, 1.2 between H. Maguire and Swip. 2-lap tire difference between those two as well. Also, I would just like to say that Slumpcon is catching Serial Killer at quite a rate of knots. Obviously 15 seconds behind, but it is still a talking point for the Haas driver. And now, not Energetics, XL Major, after making that mistake, has gotten the gap back down to 2.3. So obviously quicker, not by too much though. And if it is to stay at this pace, I think Energetics, if he can keep it on track, will win this race as of right now.
Yeah, we've got less than 13 laps to go now, nearly 12, and Serial Killer. Why did I say Serial Killer? That was very random. XL Major is... Baba, right? No, Jamie has lost it at turn 1, but keeps the car going. No need for a safety car. But yeah, I thought Major would be romping towards Energetics on these tyres. But it's just not the case. I mean, Energetics had a very poor turn 13 there. The gap's gone down to 1.8. But even so, just on consistent laps, it's not really working for Major right now. I say that he's on a bit of a push now. He has taken a second out of it since we said. But even so, even when he pulls up to the back of that Red Bull, staring at the diffuser, at that red flashing rain light, he's gonna have a very tough time getting past you. One imagines, but I don't know. Where do you see this race going, Packer, between these two? Now it's down to 1.5.
I'm not entirely sure. Just looking at the times, though, over the last 3 laps, so lap 22, I believe Energetics did a 24.0, Major on a 23.5, and then Major losing a little bit of time, 4/10 slower than Energetics on lap 23, and then once again into the 23s for XL Major on the previous lap, 23.7 compared to Energetics 24.5, and now just coming to the end of this lap as well. XL Major was a solid 4/10 faster in the first sector. So, yeah, XL Major is catching by quite a decent amount. Obviously, 20 laps, fresher tires for the AlphaTauri driver.
Jav's
as
gone
we have
again.
a yellow flag.
That's Jav again.
Yeah.
He may as well retire at this point, I'll be honest.
What's it called? Nathan did say, of course, race winner in Division 1, Ariel Nathan said that if Jav were to retire in the pits, he would make sure Jordan kicks him out of Ariel. So I don't think Jav quite wants to retire in the pits.
Well, the gap up front down to 1.2 now. That first sector you said seems to be the strong point for XL Major. That's where he really catches hand over fist, and the second half of that seems to be a little more evenly matched. We have got another yellow flag. That is Jav again. We also had a moment there for, I think that was MCFC, at turn 1 or 2, because there's a green flag there now. Swip 1.3 seconds behind H. Maguire. He just needs to sit there because he will take a podium place right now on penalties. It could have been a race win, but you know, there we go. There are one of the mysteries of the universe there. Why did Swip decide to pit? Again, Majors had another mistake in the middle sector here. The gap was 1.2, it's now 1.6 again. And again, he's going to find himself at the end of this lap back to where he was when he started it, despite a really big first sector. And I'm just a bit confused, to be honest with you. If Major's making mistakes, or if Energetic's setup is just really suiting him in the middle part of the lap, or he's just got a lot more confidence, or why it is the way it is. They're both using their ERS down the straight. Yeah, this is odd. 10 laps to go. I thought we'd have had a battle for the race right now.
Yeah, I thought the gap would be quite a bit closer. Jav pitting onto inters. It doesn't quite look like the intermediate conditions with massive puddles forming just in the pit lane itself. But yeah, Jav, I guess, will be going to new frontiers here in the Netherlands. Also, possibly just driving into the ocean with those intermediate tires. It's about the grip you'll be getting. So, let's see how that works out for Jav. 2 laps down now, of course, just behind Jamie Met and out on track. There is Subconsense, another fastest lap of the race, another 22.9, as Excel Major once again has lost time in the middle sector.
Yeah, I'm a little perplexed by the pace he's showing and why he's showing it, because he was in such a commanding position before the stops. Let's have a look, dip into the times. Where is it he's losing time? The middle sector, 29.9, 28.6 in sector 1. So not unlike his pace so far. Energetics, though, has put in 2 personal bests. That is why the gap has extended on this lap. Energetics has just found a groove. And we could see fastest lap of the race here. No, we're not, but I think that will be a PB. It's a 23.3 Energetics has just set, faster than Major's PB by nearly 0.2 of a second. So Energetics was in his happy zone that last lap, and the gap now 2 seconds. He's found a way with these wets, be it's taking 28 laps, but I think he might just have Major covered. No, well, permitting that there's no mistakes. I want to have a look at Jav on these inters, and just as I jump on board with him, for once I've caught one of Jav's multitude of spins. He's now 2 laps behind Jamie Met, let alone Energetics. Could that mean it is actually inters? Could that mean we're heading to inter conditions? Fastest lap Subcon was a 22.7, and now obviously Energetics set a personal best last lap as well.
Yeah, I was starting to say that, or starting to think that. As soon as you said Energetics, 2 PBs right in a row, and Jav being on the inters, I was thinking maybe we're just getting slightly to intermediate conditions. Obviously, doesn't quite look like this, or look like the intermediate conditions. I'm not sure if you remember Britain in Division 2 in Season 6. I'm not even sure if you were racing then. Here in Division
I crashed out after 4 laps.
Well, anyways, when it got to intermediate conditions, it looked like full wet conditions.
Oh, H. Maguire's gone.
We've had a spin from H. Maguire.
And we've got a virtual safety car. Is Swip going to come in for some inters? Is MCFC going to come in for some inters?
If I were MCFC, I would. I think he has an illegal overtake, though.
And H. Maguire doesn't.
I'm not sure what's going on here.
And Wallace has brought Serial Killer right into this battle. H. Maguire's got no front wing, so Serial Killer's going to take a free place here.
Well, after that debacle, I would say Swip should have come in. MCFC, if that hadn't happened, that was a very quick virtual safety car, as Babbo O'Reilly has picked up a drive-through penalty, as well as Riccier. And H. Maguire now into the pit lane to get a new front wing, and interesting, putting on full wets, not risking it with the inters.
In the VSC, Major has gained a little bit of time. It's 1.2 seconds, which is almost as close as the gap has been. And, well, you know, we've been in this position before, and I don't want to say that, Major goes straight over the curve of turn 11 there. That was a blatant corner cut. He didn't gain him any time either, because he's now 1.5 seconds. As soon as the gap gets close, it just slips again for Major, using the curb there. It's not something you want to do. And I think there's just a bit of frustration here, and there is Major nearly losing it through turn 13, has got his ERS on. And yeah, Major just not... He's frustrated. He's visibly frustrated just watching him drive that car. He was overdriving it. He cut turn 11 and then tried using the curb at turn 13 and then nearly dropped it again on the exit. He's got 2 lap cars ahead of him now. As H. Maguire has gone again.
Oh.
And Ibo is now back up into P7 ahead of H. Maguire.
Yeah, good race here from Ibo.
Oh, sorry, Ricky and Baba O'Reilly are side by side on the grass, and XL Major is going to slip through this. Baba O'Reilly was right on the grass on the outside of the track there. He's side by side with Riccier. Just came out of that one on top, but that could have been an airplane crash between those two, side by side in the wet, going down that kinky straight. But and Major had to drive through the pair of them.
Yeah, obviously, I would say a good thing ghosting is on for XL Major Sanity as Jav is into the wall and has broken his front wing again.
I'm amazed Aston Martin have got any front wings left at this point. But fair dues to Jav. He's driven less laps than anybody else. We've got a yellow flag out for that front wing. There's no safety car, though, or virtual safety car this time. So I think... I don't want to call it Packer.
It's just a bit over here.
Yeah, I don't want to call it Packer, but I think with 6 laps to go, that may well just be that.
Yeah, as well as Ricky losing time to Baba O'Reilly now, very wide through the first corner. H. Maguire on the back of Ibo. Let's see how this battle will play out into turn 9, and Ibo will move over to, go a little bit deep into turn 9. We'll give Ibo the benefit of the doubt as H. Maguire will slip through up into P7. Obviously, with that 3-second time penalty, Ibo just playing the time game, it seems. H. Maguire, though, 27.5 seconds to Slumpcon, who's been quietly closing up the serial killer. That gap, if we remember, at one point was almost 17 seconds, and now only down to 5.1 as Jav picks up a 3-second time penalty, coming into the pit lane, which I've seen twice now happen tonight. The other time happening was with Slumpcon. And Jav is on to hards.
Jav is on to hards. Fair play. If he causes a safety car, though, I'm not sure the other drivers will be too happy with him. I'm not sure Larkin will be too happy with him either. I'm not sure the steward will be too happy with him. But let's have a look at... Well, yeah, shout out to Ibo, because he's currently 8th place, which is 5 points. He's only got 4 for the season so far, so he'll more than double. That will be a 125% increase in his points for the season from Ibo so far if he stays where he is, and he's got a 23-second gap back to Baba O'Reilly, so he's not really under too much threat either. He's the only driver, along with Energetics, who has no-stopped this race. Major, again, has hauled himself back in. He's taken a second out of Energetics since he had his moment. But as soon as he gets anywhere close, he just seems to have a brain freeze and he can't do anything. He just seems to seize up and panic a little bit.
Maybe Dirty Air getting the best of him, I guess we could say, but not too sure if that is quite the situation. Energetics coming up to lap Jav for the 3rd time here tonight. Jav on those hard tires, not exactly having the greatest of evenings, is the Aston Martin driver. So yeah, Jav 3 laps now down, I believe. Only says 2 on the screen. Maybe it'll change.
He's 4 laps to the leader. Baba O'Reilly, Ricky, and Jamie have also been lapped, but he's 4 laps behind Energetic.
Oh yes, I guess I could change my gap to leader. That might help. Yes. Yeah. So also Ibo is getting quite close to being lapped as well. If he makes any more mistakes, as he did at turn 8 just on the lap previous, he might get a lap before the end of this race. But I guess we'll have to see with Energetic's blistering pace, if you will. Slight lockup into turn 1, but is able to hit the apex there and accelerate out of Tarzan there. But also this battle between, well, not necessarily battle, but this driving between Slumpcon and Serial Killer is getting quite close as well. Just heading through turn 13 is Serial Killer. Slumpcon just breaking into the corner now as well. So Slumpcon, even though he had those few mistakes, and he was obviously on pole position, he's quite quietly had some very, very solid pace this race.
He has, but he's got a penalty, of course, remember, so any battle would be redundant, not to put a dampener on things. But he is 3.5 seconds behind, so he is making good gains. I think Slumpcon could have comfortably won this race in another timeline, but sadly we occupy this one where we have no battle for the race win right now. We've got 3 laps to go at the end of this one, and again, another slide for Major out of turn 10. Not working for him, it's just he's overdriving the car. I think he's quicker than Energetics, visibly so from the amount of times he's gained in on him, but those mistakes are creeping. Ooh. And well, I talked up that battle being redundant. Well, not anymore. Penalty for Serial Killer, and Slumpcon is in with a sniff of 5th place.
Yeah, fastest lap obviously as well for Slumpcon as well. He's been lighting up the timing sheets, if you will. Just gonna take a quick look at fastest lap. 22.719 for Slumpcon. I think the fastest lap besides that is Excel Major on a 23.276. So Slumpcon comfortably the fastest driver out on track in the recent few laps, or at least since his pit stop. But obviously, that penalty and his mistakes not necessarily helping him in terms of the points that he will be getting once this race does indeed finish. But yeah, Energetics Excel Major just heading through the middle sector for the 34th time out of 36. And I think, as we said just a few laps ago, I think Energetics has this almost wrapped up as he almost goes off the track at turn 9.
Yeah, I think you're emphasising of it's the 34th time we've been through there is telling of Javas getting out of there. I won't even respond to him anymore. It's telling of sort of the toll this race has taken, I think, on our souls. Major's made another mistake. He's now 5.9 seconds behind Energetics. He must have had something of a slide going through turns 9 and 10. So Energetics has got this race in the bag with 2 laps to go. And what that means, Packer, is the championship lead will be just 2 points in Major's favour come Russia next week. But Energetics will still tell you the title fight is over. 2 laps to go, and it's 5.6 second lead out in front. Swip 15 seconds off the leader. He could have won this race had he decided to stay out, but elected not to. Penalty for MCFC. That is academic. He's in no man's land, as are most of the drivers. Serial Killer and Slumpcon now split by 1.1 seconds. Big gains for Slumpcon. This is our only hope of a battle in the last couple of laps. H. Maguire has plummeted from here to nowhere, down in P7, over a minute off the lead. Ibo could spare himself an extra lap of this race when he gets lapped by Energetics. But of course, if he stays ahead of Energetics for one more lap, he will be guaranteed P8 because Barbara O'Reilly race will end a lap early. So if Ibo can stay alive till the last lap without getting lapped, he will be guaranteed P8 and 5 points. But Ibo being Ibo, he'll see Energetics get within 5 seconds of him and think, I'm going to let you through and go off the track here. But we shall see.
Yeah, of course, this time, though, it will be blue flags, not for position. Just watching out.
Oh, Energetics has lost it! Energetics has lost it at the last corner with 1 lap to go. And Major is going to take the lead of this race, but he clattered the wall as he came through. Has Major picked up some damage there? I don't think he has, but he hit the wall on the outside. But a huge moment there. It's not going to be a 2-point lead for Energetics. It could be a 16-point lead for XL Major here. He's taken the lead by 5 seconds on the last lap. Packer, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that has got to be the biggest pothole I have ever seen this season. I think that's the only thing you can really say about that. Wow. An 11-second lead swing in 1 lap here in Division 5, and it was on the penultimate lap, going on to the final lap. There were only 14 more corners that Energetics had to complete to win that race, and now he's 7 seconds behind and struggling.
I think he's got damage as well. He's remarkably lucky, because if he'd lost his front wing, he would be behind Swip, I think, by the end of the race. Jav has spun again. I said I wouldn't mention it, but apparently I have. Oh, Jamie Metz lost it at turn 8 as well. That's possibly the case. But XL Major, he did put a foot wrong when he came in for the pit stops, but he's not had a spin, he's not had a crash. which is more than can be said for most of the drivers here. XL Major unexpectedly wins the Dutch Grand Prix and extends his championship lead to 16 points. Energetics played the no-stop beautifully, but in the end couldn't play the last corner, and he's his second, 7 seconds off the lead. Swip completes the podium, and then some way back, MCFC is going to take 4th place, 20 seconds off the lead, but a good recovery drive from a poor qualifying yet again for the Alfa Romeo man. It's Serial Killer does hold off Slumpcon in the end for 5th and 6th. H. Maguire has plummeted to a lowly 7th, and Ibo also did escape getting lapped, so he is going to get P8, and he's going to take his tally of points for the season from 4 to 9. That's going to be more than double his points tally for Ibo. It's been a fabulous drive for him. The only other driver, I believe, to no-stop, and indeed he is. So Ibo, 80 seconds off the lead, but he hasn't had a spin in this race, and he has beautifully played it without picking up a penalty or without having to make a pit stop, where most have ended up making at least one. Swip will be kicking himself that he hasn't won this race. If he'd not pitted, I think he saw that major pit stop and reacted in slightly a panicky way and ended up costing himself victory, but he's got a podium for his troubles. Ibo comes home and takes P8, weaving across the line there. And, well, that race had a couple of moments, but certainly the big one was on lap 35, wasn't it? Sensational way for that one to end.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what to say to that, but besides the fact that I got 2/3 of my podium predictions correct, I got Major, Energetics, and then an Aston Martin, so I think that's the best thing I could take from this race tonight.
It's probably the best prediction of the season. It doesn't mean anything because it's the fewest drivers of the season, so you had luck on your side there, so I'm not counting it, I'm afraid.
Oh, no.
But you well and truly put the curse on Jav. I mean, Jav finishing there 5 laps off the lead, to the point that I think the game has given him a DNF. He's not even classified 5 laps behind. He's got a DNF because he was less than 90% of the race completed.
Jav.
7 stops as well.
No.
Yeah, so Jav finished the race, but it doesn't even get to finish the race. So I think from what you said, that means Ariel Jordan will be kicking Jav from the team later
Well,
this
he
season.
didn't retire in the pit lane, so...
He didn't retire in the pit lane, but he also didn't finish the race. Major wins from second on the grid, but that pit stop really did throw the race away almost, it looked like at one point. Energetics in second, Swip third, MCFC fourth, Serial Killer fifth, Slumpcon sixth, then Maguire, Ibo in P8, Vavro Rally ninth, Ricky 10th, Jamie Met 11th, Jav 12th. Josh and Ghost Recon didn't finish, nor did Jav technically. So we had 12 finishes and 12 points places to give out. So everyone got points who sort of finished that race. Do you fancy getting our top 2 in for some interviews for Energetics and Major? Because I'm sure that'll be a spicy chat that we'll have there to round out the stream for this week.
I'm not sure. I guess we could get them in for the bands, of course.
We can get them in for the bands. Let's get them in. If you need to shoot off Packer, that's absolutely okay.
It is fine. I believe basketball is no longer happening anymore. So
I can hear the strain in your voice when I said let's get them in. Although to be honest with you, I can't find XL Major on my friends list. Got Energetics. This is a professional end to the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Can I find XL Major on my friends list? We do not want to invite Ivor and Mike. There we go. Let's get that.
I think we should get.
We should get Ivor and Mike in. We should get Ido in for P8. We should get I don't know. Oh,
cannot add one or more players.
It's okay. We've got Major Energetics in the party. We've got our title contenders and our top 2 for this race. Well, congratulations, gentlemen, on first and second. I'm sure, at various points in that race, both of you probably felt like you'd thrown away the win. But we'll start with Energetics, our man in P2. You were one of only 2 drivers with Ibo to do the no-stop. Are you a bit surprised that no one else did the same?
A bit, but the tire wear can be harsh around this track. But on lap 13, I checked it and it was only 16%, so I thought, just go for it. Major is too quick. I'm stuck behind someone. Just try it. I know it's possible. Maybe people don't know that you can do a no-stop on full wet race. But I did it before in another league race on Silverstone, and I won. Yeah. Stupid spin.
Yeah, so I was going to ask about that. Had you had any other moments or wobbles? Because earlier on in the race, I think everyone had a few. I mean, not energetic. Major had more than a few mistakes in that race, so you weren't alone. But did you feel that the car was quite easy to control in the wet? Did you feel quite comfortable out on track, or were you always struggling a little bit?
I was always struggling a little bit. Every lap I was going faster, knowing the braking points a little bit more. It was difficult though, because everyone was running out my mark points to brake.
I think that was Jav. I'll be honest with you. Jav spun about 18 times in that race and had 7 pit stops. So if someone was destroying your brake marker boards,
that was difficult. But it was like, okay, a new brake mark like that, and no, the last corner. I know I didn't do. I know I can't do it full speed there, because then the car would lose. But on that last lap, or going to the last lap, it was just, I'm spinning. And at that moment I was, oh fuck, just try to correct it and just, and then beep, and just try to correct it and trying to get P2 at least. Got wing damage and rear wing damage.
Well, Packer will tell you I can sympathise with your spin because I did it 3 times in Division 1, so no shame there. But it was a good recovery drive from you. I think you played that really well. I mean, you mentioned in the Discord that you felt like your consistency was lacking, but I think it really shone through there. You came from 6th to 2nd to nearly win the race. I think you're, despite what you may think, I think you're very much still in this title fight, even if you miss a couple of races down the line.
Yeah. Is there any chance I can boycott the next race in a way that I need to race, but a boycott something? Because it's not right to run Russia next week.
Well, to be honest, I don't have any strong opinions on that, but we'll see how other drivers feel, I'm sure. Well, let's move on to you, XL Major. Congratulations on the win and extending your championship lead. Talk us through, give us an overview of that race from your point of view, because it seemed like it was very comfortable and then it was very absolutely not comfortable. Well, until that second stop, it looked like you were meant to win that race. Were you struggling with tyre wear, or was that something with the VSC you just thought, I've got a free pit stop here? Yeah, I think that was something we picked up on stream, that in Sector 1 you seemed really strong and you'd always take 3-4 tenths, and then it would just ebb away from you a little bit in the second part of the lap. Last question then, to round out the stream for both of you. 16 points is the gap in the championship now. How are you both feeling going forward with just 6 races left?
You first, Major. I'm normally decent at Russia, but the penalties will happen there. China, I'm not very good at China. I always put out that long right-hander. Hungary, I'm decent. Canada is a shit track with penalties. Brazil.
It's a bleep track, sorry.
Oh, sorry. It's a B track. Brazil is kinda nice, but still a B track. And Abu Dhabi, I'm decent at. I like that track, so you're in favor here. Yeah, and probably gonna miss one race, but I don't know which one because of work. I'm gonna try not miss one then.
We've got a break week
Well, I
after
believe we have a
Russia.
break week that week.
We have a break
so...
week after Russia. Energetic soul just shattered there. But we will end the stream there. Thank you both for joining us. Thank you for lending your words in the interviews. It's an interesting race. I think and Major summed it up nicely when he said that not too much happened apart from jav spinning umpteen times. But thank you everyone who tuned in and enjoyed following along the little wheel-to-wheel action we had. Me and Paco will join you next week for Sochi, where I'm sure all manner of madness will happen, as always does in Division 5. Thank you for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure, if a little rainy and wet all the way through. Until next week, goodbye.